Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of English Breakthrough. I'm Jenny, and today we're diving into something that affects every single one of us, technology. We'll be exploring how digital innovation is reshaping society, the challenges we face, and what the future might look like. Whether you're preparing for IELTS or TOEFL, or simply want to improve your English while discussing fascinating topics, you're in the right place. Joining me today is Ryan, an engaged B2 level learner. Ryan, welcome.
Thanks so much, Jenny. I'm really excited to talk about technology today. It's something I use every day, but I haven't really thought deeply about how it's transforming our society. Where should we begin?
Great question. Let's start with the concept of digital transformation. This term describes how technology fundamentally changes the way we work, communicate, and live. Can you think of examples from your own life where this has happened?
Absolutely. I think about my parents. They used to go to the bank to withdraw money, but now they do everything online through their smartphones. That's probably the most obvious example. But it's also changed how people work. Many companies have implemented remote working, especially since the pandemic.
Exactly. And that leads us to an important challenge, cybersecurity. As we move more of our lives online, protecting our data becomes increasingly critical. Do you ever think about security when you're using apps or websites?
I must admit, I don't always think about it as much as I should. But recently, there was a data breach at a company where I had an account, and it made me realize how vulnerable we can be. I think companies have a responsibility to ensure that personal information is safeguarded properly.
You've touched on something really important there. The ethical dimension of technology is crucial. And speaking of ethics, let's talk about artificial intelligence. AI is being integrated into almost everything, from healthcare to education. What's your perspective on this development?
Well, I think AI has tremendous potential. I've read that it could revolutionize medicine by helping doctors diagnose diseases more accurately. But I'm also concerned about job displacement. If algorithms can do what humans do, what happens to workers? There should be sustainable solutions that balance innovation with social responsibility.
That's a very balanced perspective, Ryan. You're absolutely right that we need to address the implications of these technological advances. One more thing I'd like to discuss: how do you think innovation should be regulated? Should governments play a bigger role?
That's tricky. On one hand, regulation could prevent misuse and protect citizens. On the other hand, too much regulation might stifle innovation and give advantages to larger companies that can afford compliance. I think there needs to be a balanced framework, but it's challenging to achieve.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So let's summarize what we discussed today. We explored digital transformation and how it's revolutionized our daily lives. We examined the critical importance of cybersecurity in protecting our personal data. We considered artificial intelligence and its potential benefits and risks. And we discussed the complex question of how innovation should be regulated. The key takeaway is that technology is powerful, but it requires thoughtful consideration and ethical frameworks to ensure it benefits everyone. Now, before we finish, I want to remind you that we've covered some important B2 level vocabulary throughout this conversation. Words like transformation, cybersecurity, and ethical weren't just thrown in randomly, they're essential for discussing complex topics like this. Stick around after this episode because we have a comprehensive vocabulary review waiting for you. Thanks for listening, and keep practicing.